done it! FC Dallas.
Diego Chara, Portland Timbers get their second goal to make sure.
Bradley Wright Phillips is free inside. Bradley Wright Phillips round the keeper. New York Red Bulls into the Eastern Conference Final.
Towards Kamara, up he goes! And he delivers! Still not full time. McCourty in. A ball up in the air. Miazga's header on Phillips! Out for a corner.
And what a finish to the day at Red Bull Arena on leg 2 of the conference championships. Wow. Hey, everybody. Russ Thaler here in the MLSsoccer.com studios. Welcome to our MLS postgame show with Thomas Rongen and Jason Kreis here with you. We have our MLS Cup 2015 all set. Columbus Crew SC and Portland Timbers coming your way. Thomas, just what are your thoughts coming off a wild finish to both games?
Heart attack. That's all I can say. The two underdogs go on. The two favorites are not. That's the game. This is the game for the masses, so to speak. You know, why can you not get excited about a day like this? The whole playoffs being just incredible.
You're so excited. You're wearing the
I am.
for both teams.
I don't know who to support yet. So Caleb, Greg, give me a call.
All right, Jason. Let's talk about the team from the East who's going to host MLS Cup. What has stood out to you about Columbus Crew SC through all this?
Yeah, like I said before, the matchups, I think that it's a team that's had a very good year. They've had some ups and downs, but in the end, they've bought into Greg Berhalter's style, and they're in the final for a reason. I think they went through a patch at the beginning of the season where defensively they really struggled, but towards the second half of the season, you saw a team that was well organized, extremely difficult to break down, and I think over the 180 minutes, they really frustrated New York Red Bulls. So a very deserving finalist.
I think Sora made a big difference as well for them towards the end of the season, although Tyson Wall, obviously, in the first game was huge as well, but Sora made the big difference.
What about Portland Timbers, Thomas?
Portland, I got to give Caleb Porter a lot of props. He got it right towards the end of the season when they struggled a little bit by making that change, by bringing Nagby inside, which was the catalyst going forward, and then in his starting 11. He had some choices in each and every game. Valeri was in, he was out, yellow cards, injuries, and every time he manipulated the triangle. And I'm telling you, he that's a team of destiny maybe right now.
Yeah, you're fair to say probably the two teams playing the best soccer of the season right now are going to meet for the big championship. MLS Cup 2015 is set December 6th, 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, RDS, TSN, and Unimas. Columbus Crew SC hosting Portland Timbers, and of course coverage all week long heading up to the big game right here on MLSsoccer.com. Jen Williams has been checking out all the social media action, and there is a lot of it going on. Jen, what's happening?
A lot of action. I'm surprised heart attack isn't trending. I flatlined. Where are the skull emojis when you need them? Let's start with the Timbers. They got some love from the Trailblazers. Love that kind of league love, cross-league love. And let's also take a look at the official viewing party. Wait for this reaction. Just unbelievable. Congratulations, you're going to the Cup. Just amazing fans. I'll have more coming up later from both games. Again, amazing fan reaction. I'm surprised people are alive to tweet after those ones. Russ, back to you. All
right, make sure you use the hashtag.
I was there, Russ.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Your excitement level is high for sure. Use the hashtag MLS Cup Playoffs. You may even want to throw in some questions. Maybe we'll answer them towards the end of the show. But first, we got to go through what we just saw. We have to sort of wrap our heads around everything that just happened. Let's start in the East with the game we just watched. Columbus Crew SC holding off the New York Red Bulls right to the bitter end. They win 2-1 on aggregate. And Jason, just what were you thinking as you watched that game? And then what was your first thought when it finally ended?
I thought a lot of the similar things that I was thinking in the first game. I was surprised that the Red Bulls seemed so uncomfortable playing down a couple of goals. They just didn't seem like themselves. There wasn't enough movement. The ball wasn't moving quickly enough. There wasn't enough numbers getting forward, and there wasn't really any real sense of urgency or commitment in the penalty box.
And Thomas?
Well, I agree with Jason. I don't know if that week off maybe, leading into this, they were flat against DC, both on the road and home. Obviously not good in Columbus, and at home where they've been stellar this year, they were flat. And you ask yourself why. You go to the coach, Jesse Marsh, and say, in that particular game, need to bring Albon early into the game, and has almost an assist and scores a goal as well. And I think that Jesse in the off-season is going to scratch his head a little bit. I stuck with brought me here, which I can also respect and understand, but they underperformed. Their front four, 5 shots on goal, the whole game, that's not enough.
The credit to Columbus Crew, though, it had to have been something with what they did and the way they did it against New York Red Bulls. If you had to pick a man of the match, who would it be, Jason?
For me, Tony Tchani in this one. The activity that he had, the ground that he covered was amazing. The number of balls that he recovered and won. His physicality was fantastic. He was mixing it up all night long with the Red Bulls and causing them some real problems and some inner fighting there in the game. And then with the ball, I thought he just made really incredibly smart and simple decisions with it to keep the ball for his team, which was desperately needed. Such
a tangled web we weave with Tony Tchani, a former first-round draft pick of the New York Red Bulls, number 2 overall, ends up in a trade that wound up bringing Dwayne De Rosario over to the Red Bulls, who ended up leaving to go to D.C., which brought in Dax McCarty. And then it was that midfield matchup that you guys talked about. Dax McCarty, Sasha Kletchen, Tony Tchani, Will Trapp for Columbus Crew. And certainly you got to give the advantage to Crew in this whole series, right?
Oh, absolutely. Again, we talk always about the triangle in the first game. We talked about it as well. Will Trapp's passing, short lanes, the shuttler in Tchani, 18 to 18. He's got so much strength, but he can play as well. I said to Jason today, he looks the best I've ever seen him. He's just perfectly fit for Berhalter's team. And then Higuain just plays off those guys as well. And that makes him so dangerous going forward.
So easy to talk about Columbus Crew, their movement off the ball, their movement with the ball. But let's look at the clean sheets they kept and moments away from shutting out New York through both legs of this conference championship. They didn't quite get it done, but defensively, they were stellar. Who was your man of the match?
Parkhurst, without a doubt. You look at the last game they played at home, he needs to play next to Tyson Wall. The next game he plays next to Sorrow. He's so smart. He's so intelligent. He reads things quicker than any other defender because he has to, because he doesn't have the physical qualities that other center backs maybe have. But he's harder physically than people give him a chance, and he's mentally very strong as well. And he's become really a leader for Greg Berhalter because Greg Berhalter loves to play a certain style, and you need players that can help you on the field, the extension, so to speak, of the coaching staff. And Parkhurst is the heart of that in the back, not only with the ball, but also without the ball.
Jason, you're someone who brought in a specific style of play to Real Salt Lake, took him all the way to MLS Cup. How difficult is it to do what Greg Berhalter did, and how long does it usually take to implement your kind of style and find not only the right guys, but maybe guys that are already there and adapt them to the style you like?
I think it's difficult. I think it's difficult to have the mindset that you want to see things done a particular way and to stick with that, even when the results don't come. And as I said, there was a spell there at the beginning of the season where I think Columbus was really struggling. But I think Greg really stuck to what he was about and how he wanted to see things done. And in the end, he gets rewarded for that. It takes time. This is his second year, and I think they're really starting to play the overall really well-balanced game that he prefers, and it's happening at the exact right time.
Yeah, let's also remember that Jesse Marsch is just finishing his first season with the New York Red Bulls, so this is a work in progress. This is the second year for Greg Berhalter. By the way, that's a quick timetable for anybody in year 2 to get all the way to MLS Cup. But New York still had their chances, Thomas, in this game. Not many of them, but they had chances to get into this match and get into this series.
Yeah, they were far apart, though, and not really quality chances. I call them half chances, with the exception of maybe the last one that goes against the post. Quite frankly, during the first half of the game, Jay's not going, there's a goal for Columbus in this game because they were more lethal, they were better. The final pass just lacked a little bit. But all that possession, all those numbers going forward, and only having 5 shots on target, that's just not enough. And that's way below their average at home throughout the regular season.
But just one goal in this game, the second leg of the Eastern Conference Championship, goes to New York. Columbus Crew SC moves on to MLS Cup, 2-1 on aggregate. Over in the West, a little bit of a different story when it comes to goals being scored. A 5-3 aggregate win for the Portland Timbers, a 2-2 finish in the second leg of the conference championship. And again, this one played in the rain in Frisco. And what was your first thought as you watched that unfold?
Well, my first thought is, where's Castillo?
Yep.
One dribble, successful dribble, the lowest of the year as well, and also in Portland. Where's Diaz? A 62% accuracy in passing, where the other triangle in Portland over 80, almost 90%, including Mr. Valeri. And then I hate to say it, Oscar Pereira doesn't go quickly enough to Blas Perez. He's got to figure out, we haven't played against this team. There's something about him that we need to change. I need to be a little more direct. I need to get a bigger body up there. Wait till the 62nd minute, and all of a sudden they scored 2 goals. So too late, though. So Oscar is going to scratch his head during the offseason as well.
You know, and a little symmetry with the team they're going to play in MLS Cup, Columbus Crew SC. It's a team that you want to talk offensively more than defensively, just by the way they play, the way their coaches want their teams to get out there and play. But defensively, Portland has stepped up huge. And who was your man of the match, and maybe the man of the series here?
Yeah, for me, it's again the guy that I was talking about before the game started, Nap Orchers. You know, Nap, I think, led his back four extremely well. You could see that he was doing his best to calm the group down as they got scored on. He has that veteran experience, I think, that really shined through. And then at the end of the game, he's there to make that one critical play that he has to make in order to save the match.
Yeah, and that beard, as if he wasn't already endeared enough to the fans in Portland. Here's a look at that block from Borchers. I mean, is that just instinctual at that point?
Well, at that point, we're talking about late in the game. Everybody's fatigued. It's instinct, yes. It's bravery, yes. It's all the things that Jason talked about as well. Certain things that you just can't teach as a coach. Yeah. He has that naturally. And yeah, what a big block that is. Huge. Because he's got to come from Castillo all the way across in order to block this. Huge. Big.
Yeah, Blas Perez saw a gaping hole to punch that in and tie this thing up and send it to extra time. And Nat Borchers was there with a big boot. And then Milano puts the final nail in the coffin. Who was your player of the match in the second leg?
Well, in the second leg, I got to give it to Valeri. His numbers were just out of this world. First, he's got 2 assists on both goals. That's big already. But if you look at passing accuracy, percentages, they're all 80 plus or in the low 90s. That meant, A, they always were able to find an outlet through him, maintain some possession, get the lines up a little bit more when they're really under duress, which they were a few times. And then a guy with a final pass that can just pick out Milano with that second goal, or Audi on the first goal, is just spectacular.
Well, let's not also forget that he also picked out Urruti late in this game a couple of times, and Maxi just couldn't finish, but the passes from Valeri were just spectacular on that. Now, Portland Timbers go into MLS Cup for the first time ever. You guys have coached in MLS Cup, both of you, and won MLS Cup. But going for the first time, what was that experience like?
Oh, for the first time, I think I was young and dumb enough to really not notice what was going on. But there's so much going on. There's so much media attention. There's so much press in the city that you're training in before you leave, and then you get to the place where the game was. We played in Seattle, and I could not believe there must have been 200 media members there wanting to interview us and the players. And I think the most important thing as a coach that you can do to your players is to remind them that, yes, this is an incredibly momentous experience, and what an unbelievable opportunity that we have in front of us. But at the end of it all, it's just a soccer game.
Thomas, you've done it as well, 99 with DC United.
I was fortunate enough to have a very veteran team that had been there before at Bruce Arena in obviously the first year in 96, 97 when they lost against Chicago, and then, 98. Yeah. And then obviously I was taking over there. So I was in awe of Christina Aguilera. She sang the national anthem. So for 2 days I'm going, Marco Echeverri Moreno had to rein me in a little bit. Coach, slow down, relax. So, but Jason is right. These guys knew how to perform, and it was more be even keel throughout the week. Don't get distracted too much. All the things that we normally as coaches tell our teams, obviously, and then let the chips fall. As Jason said, it's still a game. Let's go out and do something special, which both of us were able to do.
It's got to be hard where everybody is there for an event, and for the players themselves, they are the event. Yeah. So that's probably, you got to keep their heads on in that space as well. Look, these two teams, Columbus and Portland, have played before this season. In fact, they played in Columbus, Ohio, back on September 26th, and it was Fernando Audi coming up with a brace in this game, and Portland won that game 2-1 in Columbus.
They did.
And how much does that play into this at all?
I don't think it will.
No.
It's a one-off game. That's another thing you tell your team. Forget about history. Forget about if we're on the road or at home. It's a one-off game. You try to prepare your team as best as you can. You tweak a few things based on your opponent, obviously, like you do during the year. There's going to be enough energy that winning at home or losing against them at home is not going to make a difference.
And if you're Caleb Porter, do you even bring it up? Hey, we've beaten these guys here before, or is it just not even worth it?
I don't even think it's something you bring up. I think certain coaches see things certain ways. I may bring it up just to make a point to the guys that it doesn't matter at all. What we did 6 months ago, 3 months ago, 8 months ago, whenever it was, doesn't matter at all. Nobody remembers that, and nobody will remember that after the next game is over.
And both teams are so different from the time as well.
Yeah,
I mean, the Nagby move obviously is so important. You look at Columbus. There's been some changes made as well, especially in the back. They've become better defensively. So let's go. Roll the dice and play.
Hey, look,
play as well as you can.
Two of the guys we've talked a lot about during the playoffs, and specifically in these conference championships for Columbus, you got Kai Kamara, who easily, if not for Giovinco, Kai Kamara is MLS MVP. And you got Nat Borchers, who we've been talking a lot about today. These guys are probably going to be seeing a lot of each other in MLS Cup. How do you see that matchup, having coached one of them and certainly played against a lot of the other ones?
I love a lot of things about Nat, but I'll tell you there's one thing he's not. He's not an athlete. He's not one of the best athletes in the world, and that's what you would say right away. You would say, what's the strength of Kai Kamara? This guy's an athlete. So it's a difficult matchup for him and Ridgewell are both similar in that they're not the most gifted athletic center backs, but they are both very cerebral, and I think they'll put themselves in good positions to deal with them.
And that's very interesting, too, because on the other side, you got Audi versus Soro as well. Mm-hmm. And I don't think that Soro is that athletic and Audi is. So I think this game might be won because the center backs or the particular forwards doing their thing. So great chess match again.
Yeah, and you have veteran guys like Borchers and Liam Ridgewell, who's not a veteran MLS player, but he is a veteran of a very high level, played in the Premier League for a long time. What kind of things do those defenders do? Now, you went up against a lot of veteran defenders in your time as a player. What kind of little things can a guy like Borchers do maybe to get Kamara off his game or maybe put him in positions he doesn't want to be?
Yeah, that's an interesting thought because I believe that Kamara's a pretty emotional player. I think he's a guy that really plays with his heart on his sleeves. And oftentimes players like that can be put off if you're very physical with them early. And I know Borchers is a mental guy, and I know that he'll be attempting to do that very early on. Get in, see if he can get inside of Kamara's head with some real physical play.
Pulling all the tricks of the MLS trade there. Nat Borchers had a huge game, and of course that big block we've been talking about in the second leg of the Western Conference Championship. Right after the game, Jill Sakowicz caught up with Nat Borchers.
You came up with that big block at the end. How'd that feel for you?
Yeah, it felt good. I don't think I had a very good game otherwise, so I have to come up big for my team.
And how deserving is this group, and how important is it to be going to the MLS Cup with this group?
It's fantastic. I mean, start to finish, this year has been a roller coaster for us, but I think that when it counts, this team stepped up and got the job done.
In Columbus, Ohio. Columbus Crew SC taking on the Portland Timbers, 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, RDS and TSN in Canada, and Unimas as well. And coverage all week long leading up to MLS Cup right here on MLSsoccer.com. We're coming back with your questions with the hashtag MLS Cup Playoffs next here on MLSsoccer.com.
The colors we stand for throughout all seasons bring us together.
It's Marco Papa. He loves it from there! Stunning! Simply stunning! And that's all! The supporter shield in Chicago.
Kakutamani sprinting forward to Jordan Hurst. It's in from Mane!
Dos Santos has found a pocket again. Oh, he's found Robbie Keane, as in Keane has touched it over and in!
Got in front of Willis. Can he get the ball in the box? He can. It's Rivera! And Willis!
Just deflection off of McMath on the shot by Mustafa. Well, they're going for more. It's Finley. Taylor Kemp is the defender. Ethan Finley spinning him inside and out. Putting it inside the far post. Sensational from the Columbus Crew.
Here is Nagby, and it's a sensational goal. Chips it into the box. Nagby's header is in. Darlington Nagby has done it again.
Well, here's Lee Wynn, top of the 6, and puts it by Saunders. And here it is in the second minute of the match. Lee Wynn. Judy, cross coming. Diaco, Gilberto strikes. Fire to within 1.
He's a player who's had a lot of fine performances against FC Dallas. And here's Amarikwa with another chance, maybe. Hedges trying to bump him off the ball, and Amarikwa has scored. Now Castillo to Ulloa. Ulloa gets FC Dallas the lead. Second goal for the homegrown player.
Great crossfield ball from Donadel to Piatti. Piatti's ball. Tied again for Montreal.
This is where the midfield needs to tighten up for the impact.
Didier Drogba has done it again. He's tied this game on its head.
All right, back here in the MLSsoccer.com studios, Russ Thaler with Thomas Rongen and Jason Kreis. Live post-game coverage of the second leg of the conference championships with MLS Cup now set between Columbus Crew SC and the Portland Timbers a week from tonight. Jen Williams has been checking out social media all day. What's coming through here?
Thanks, Russ. William had a pretty funny observation. Not if you're a Red Bulls fan, but said, always a best man, never a groom are the New York Red Bulls.
Yeah, it's so metro.
That one's rough. And then Andy tweeted a picture of a brick wall with the hashtag Cruz defense. I want to ask you guys, was Columbus's defense that good, or was New York's offense that lackluster? Thomas, you mentioned 5 shots on goal and half chances. So what do you guys think?
What do you think? Was it the Crew defense or New York's?
New York's front four is probably one of the best in the league, although I think Columbus might be the best in terms of real numbers, if you look at goals and assists. You got to give the Crew's defense absolutely, a lot of credit. But I also feel that, in particular, Sasha Kleshton and Dex McCarthy, again, couldn't really get into the game. And those two are still the engines of... They get Grella, they get Lloyd Sam involved, and they weren't able to do that for, as Jay said, for about 180 minutes now. It was tough.
Yeah, I think it's another disappointing moment for a lot of people in the league, because they say this is the team that played the best soccer for the entire season. They won the Supporters' Shield for a reason. They were the best team. They had the most points. They scored a tremendous amount of goals. They were good defensively. They were an excellent team. But I feel they just ran out of gas at the end. They just didn't play well in the playoffs. And I think deservedly, they're not in the final. But this will be a team, I believe, will be much stronger next year, because it will be their second year together. And I think they've learned a lot of lessons from this playoffs.
Yeah, I'm sure they love to hear that. It's a learning experience. It's a teachable moment. It's easy for us to say sitting here.
Probably. This is why you coach.
It's true. It's probably harder than
they get a Princeton grad leading them, so they'll be all right. They'll be okay.
Yeah, everything will be broken down.
Exactly.
Not emotionally, but educationally.
There you go.
That way, intellectually, I guess is the word. I didn't go to Princeton.
Their IQ will be now 140 to 130.
Right. Jen, what else you got?
Yeah, the Supporters' Shield, not a bad consolation prize. I have a tweet from E. Rich, who said, one of the craziest endings in the history of soccer. Now, he tweeted this out. It's a little bit of a stretch. He tweeted this out after FC Dallas Timbers match. My vote would have been for the Eastern Conference Championship. Where does today one of these games rank in terms of playoff history, in terms of endings?
Well, look, Sporting Kansas City put a tweet out today that just said, posts, man. The craziest ending in this playoffs came in Portland between Sporting Kansas City and Portland Timbers, when Sporting hit the post twice on one penalty kick when they went to penalties.
And a goalkeeper ends up scoring the winning goal.
Right, exactly. And the goalkeeper ends up saving the potential tying goal from the other keeper.
Non-MLS, but in '78, the World Cup final in Argentina. Holland, seriously, against the Netherlands. In overtime. Mario Kempes scores 2-1.
I was like 3.5 years old.
You weren't born yet, I know. Okay, sorry, guys.
6 then. There's absolutely no doubt that this playoffs have been tremendously exciting.
Yeah.
To look at the FC Dallas-Seattle game as well. The second leg there in Dallas was amazing, and I think just time after time in these playoffs you've seen that it comes down to that last minute and that last inch. And I think that's incredible for our sport and the game in our country right now.
Yeah, you know what, I'll add to that. I know we're on MLSsoccer.com, but I don't want to sound like a shill, but the truth is, it all started really with decision day. For the first time, having that go all day, and having the games come down as they did, with playoff places on the line, positioning, home field advantage.
Portland started. Russ?
Portland started on a day when they couldn't. There was a chance they might not have gotten into the playoffs.
Amazing.
Yeah, I mean, we started there. I had a full head of hair. I was working with you.
Second, third, fifth.
Yeah, now it's like, what's going on? There's Gray.
Like, in the finals.
This is amazing. It's just fantastic. Jen, what else do you see out there from social media?
Another great observation from Sam. Imagine if the Red Bulls had played the whole 180 minutes like they played the last 10. Guys, where was the urgency from this team in maybe the first half or even earlier in the second?
they probably would have lost 8-0 on aggregate. Right? The way Columbus played, Columbus could have scored 4 goals in the first half tonight, right?
Yeah, they could have. And I like I said, I think they just ran out of steam a little bit. You know, I think they put so much emotion and energy into winning the Supporters' Shield.
Yeah.
It came down to the last game of the season for them, and they played really, really well in that very last match to win the Supporters' Shield.
And I still think that 1 week off, you know how people talk about in baseball and in basketball, you know, not a quick turnaround, it's a series of 7, we're not sharp, we don't lose our leg. And there's 2 theories about it. I firmly believe Jason's right, a lot of emotion to that one, but I think they could have carried the emotion through. They never were able to reach that level again with DC, both games in this series as well.
Yeah, and good news, Liam Ridgewell is already saying, I'm going to play in MLS Cup. It was hard enough watching this one, so both teams should be at full strength. We won't have, no yellow cards or red cards involved in this.
Did the guy that replaced him, does he have anything to say about that?
No, only.
Yeah, great.
Hey, you guys are the coaches. Only the coach has something to say about that. Yeah. And I'm going to guess the DP center back is going to be playing.
Awfully presumptuous.
Yeah,
exactly.
I would think he's probably Paparazzo. They've never lost when Paparazzo started.
There you go.
We've talked about that this season when he started games. They're unbeaten. Anyway, look, we have Columbus Crew and Portland Timbers. We need to predict MLS Cup predictions. Before we go, Jason, who do you like in this game? And maybe give us the final score.
I'll tell you what, I mean, for me, this is a really difficult choice to make because I think on the one hand, you have Columbus, who to me looks like the most balanced and well-organized and all-around good team. Good defending and very, very good, as Thomas alluded to, their top 4 players, I think, are arguably the best top 4 in the league. Playing against Portland, who's, I feel like, you feel like they're the team of destiny. Yeah. They're the team that just caught a wave of good play at the end of the season and carried it right through the playoffs. So it's really difficult. I'm going to go with the home team, and I'm going to go with a 2-1 scoreline.
All right. Thomas, how about you?
You know, it's going to be very, very interesting. If Caleb Porter stays with the 1 holder and 2 attacking midfielders, Chani is going to either kill Valeri or Nagby because they just got to chase him. And this kid, Chani, can go 18 to 18. So it'll be very interesting to see how that works out because that might be the trickle-down effect.
Before you give me the name of who you think is going to win, when you do, don't even say that. Just lift the scarf of whoever you think's winning. Whether you just lifted both.
The only thing I can say is Columbus, here we come.
All right. Well, it's true. Columbus, here we come. But you just lifted up both scarves.
Overtime, PKs.
All the way to PKs.
A post, maybe 2 or 3.
Yeah.
And this will be the winner.
Columbus Crew SC.
Yep.
Thomas Rongen says they win their 2nd MLS Cup after winning it in 2008. With Siggy Schmidt as the head coach.
That's right.
And now it's going to be Greg Berhalter, says Thomas Rongen. And also the home team, Columbus Crew. So we got 2 for the Crew here. Much thanks to Jennifer Williams, who's been hanging out with you guys on social media. Thank you, Jen.
Thank you, guys.
The X Factor.
Actually, I have one last.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, here we go.
One last tweet. This one was great. Good night, everyone. MLS is officially amazing. Bye. I figured that would be a perfect way to end it.
That's pretty good to play us out with that one. For Jason Kreis and Thomas Rongen, I'm Russ Thaler. Thanks so much for watching. Remember, MLS Cup 2015, December 6th, 4 p.m. Eastern on ESPN, RDS, TSN in Canada, Unimas as well, Columbus Crew SC, and Portland Timbers. Thomas and I are going to see you out there in Columbus, Ohio. Keep checking MLSsoccer.com for all of your MLS Cup coverage all week long. We'll see you out there in Columbus, everybody. Yeah, let's do it. Come on. Are you going to do yourself?